Welcome back to Village in Motion this Tuesday, October 15th, and go Nationals. But right now we're going to be going to a discussion about home health care, and we have with us this morning two of our home health care people, one being Krista Morrison, who is a home health care clinical manager, and the other being Christine, who's a home health care, who's just the health care administrator, right? Or
home care administrator.
Home care administrator. I'll get that title right one of these days.
That's okay.
You guys keep on changing it around down there.
It is a little different. So the departments are home health and home support,
Right.
but we're united under one umbrella called home care, and
Home care.
I'm the administrator for both business lines.
Okay.
That's how I get my
There you go.
home care administrator title. But I brought Krista with me today to make an exciting announcement. Krista has been working in home support as the home support clinical manager. And across the Erickson enterprise, the home support management structure is changing. And so we had the opportunity to have Krista move from home support clinical manager to home health clinical manager.
Wonderful.
So we're really excited to have her. She's been with Green Spring for about 5.5 years,
Yes.
and and she worked for a company as a home health quality assurance and clinical person before. So she's got the experience that she needs, and
Exactly.
the team already knows her, as do
Yes.
the residents. So we're very excited to have her in home health.
Well, congratulations, Krista.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
What are you going to be doing with your new position?
In my new position, probably a lot of what I was doing before is managing staff.
Okay.
Except it's not a large workforce. Like in home support, it's going to be much smaller, but it's all professional staff.
Okay.
So, so I'll be managing the staff. I'll be taking the referrals, talking to doctors on the phone. Pretty much from the time the referral in, overseeing that.
Okay.
Not only process, but the clinical aspect of what's going on the case.
Very good. With that, how often do you review the case in the clinical management? Is that a daily basis, or is that a monthly, or what?
Well, we have case conferences, I think, every week.
Every week, every other week.
Every
depending
other
on the
week.
schedule, yeah.
So I'm on week 2, so
Okay.
not quite. But yeah, I know it's at least every other week.
Okay.
Yeah, and we sit down with the whole multidisciplinary team, with the PT and the OT and the speech and all the nursing, of course.
Okay.
And we talk about every case.
Wonderful.
So
Do the physicians participate in that?
they do not in that aspect.
Okay.
Right.
When do you get physician input in regards to your care?
Well, lots of times that is the initial referral. It's
Okay.
come from the physician. Okay. If they're in the hospital, then it could be a discharging physician, but our physicians are back here on campus, but not always.
Right.
It's, lots of times it is outside physicians.
Okay.
But we are in communication with them as we start the case and referring back to them with any sort of concerns that we might have.
Okay. So, in other words, what we have here is all nurse managed.
Yes.
Essentially.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Being a nurse, that's great.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Very,
true.
very
That's
good.
true.
Wonderful.
So.
With nurse management, you're doing care plans all the time, and you're really assessing the patient completely from head to toe, right?
Correct.
What is your most typical symptom that you're finding with individuals here? Is there any one particular thing that you're finding?
We have a lot of falls.
A lot of falls?
A lot of falls. And beyond that, I think there's a lot of like cardiac education that goes on too.
Okay.
Maybe not post-surgical things, but new diagnoses of congestive heart failure or AFib, new medication changes for high blood pressure. I think there's a lot of education centered around cardiovascular teaching. And a lot of times our therapists doing a lot of home modifications, because even though maybe the resident hasn't fallen, the apartment is set up in such a way that a fall is a real possibility. So they're really working on those pieces.
So you have individuals that will go into the home, into the apartment, and assess the apartment?
Our PT and OT, when they do their evaluation, they go in and look around the apartment, see if there's any safety hazards, if there's equipment that's needed, if your coffee table needs to be moved because it doesn't, give you enough clearance
Or
with
you have
your
a
walker.
rug on the top of a rug?
Exactly, rugs on top of rugs.
That
Just clutter, things like that, and they'll make recommendations. If you have family that's really involved in your care and maybe helps keep your apartment up, they'll work with your family as well to give them the information and recommendations. recommendations.
Okay.
And then they work with the medical center. If there's, an assistive device or some kind of suggestion for equipment that's needed, they actually talk to the doctor as well and try to help get that organized so that the physician can order it and get that order sent out to a medical supply company or give it to the family to go purchase something.
Okay. What happens in an apartment where you have wall-to-wall furniture? And I know a lot of people move in here with too much furniture. And you come in and assess that things need to be moved around. What happens?
The recommendation is made. It's usually made by PT and OT, sometimes nursing also. For this is your home, so some people are, resistant to make those changes because they're comfortable. If they're resistant and we really feel like it's a big safety concern, sometimes we'll reach out to the resident service coordinator because sometimes they have more of a relationship with the resident than we do because we're just meeting them.
Right.
And a lot of times they're a great help in kind of getting the message across. Sometimes it's not permanent. It's just until, you get your footing back or you get rid of the walker, but they can help us problem solve some of those issues.
Okay. Speaking of walkers, and there's a lot of people with walkers, what I call rollators, around. Who adjusts those?
So if it's a walker that is yours and it was ordered by the doctor, usually you get fitted with it first. So if you got it in Garden Ridge, they'll work with you and try to get it fitted to you. If you get it under the course of our treatment, we work with you to get it adjusted. Okay. There's also been some walker clinics on campus where they can help check little parts and pieces that might need to get situated. The one thing I can't stress enough though is don't buy one at a garage sale.
Right.
It's really nice if your neighbor wants to, give you theirs, but if they do, you really need to get it checked out before you use it because you just don't know how old it is, if the parts are appropriate for you. Because if you look around the community, you see people that maybe have the tennis balls on the bottom or the skis or nothing.
Right.
And you want to make sure that the sort of aftermarket parts that might get put on there are the right ones for your needs.
Right. And then with the rollators, you want to make sure that they're the right height.
Yeah.
That they've been adjusted.
The brakes work properly because those things can move quickly.
Yes.
And then make sure that, you're using it safely. I see, unfortunately, a lot of residents sit and push themselves with their feet. I can't overstate. That is a very dangerous practice.
Yeah. And especially pushing themselves backwards.
Backwards.
Oh, yes.
You never know what's behind you. You never know what's around a corner. Right. And, the weight distribution when you're sitting on it and pushing, you're more back heavy, so you're going to tip over. We don't want that to happen. So don't be offended if you see one of my clinicians in the hallway recommending that you don't do that because it's really unsafe.
So the only thing you can do is really recommend. Is that right?
True. Yes. Recommend, strongly encourage, provide the resources. We have an extensive list of assistive equipment that's not covered by Medicare. Our occupational therapist has the list of everything we could possibly use, and it's all purchasable on Amazon. So if your family's far away and they want to make sure you have what you need, she can send links to the appropriate equipment, and you can have it Amazon Prime to the front desk
wonderful.
here. Yeah,
wonderful.
She's got great resources.
That's tremendous. Because it always concerns me in the dining rooms and the halls, people with walkers or rollators, that they're not using them appropriately, they're not adjusted appropriately for their height or weight in regards to their abilities along that line. So if someone's having those problems, they can contact you?
They would really probably need to come to one of the walker clinics because what we do is done under Medicare, and so if you're not homebound and you don't meet those requirements, we can't see you in the home.
Right.
But there's always a possibility for outpatient rehab to assist or one of the walker clinics in the community.
Okay, very good. Since everything with you has to have an order.
For the most part, yes.
You accept the orders from outside physicians as well as with their own physicians, right?
Yes.
If someone goes outside, is there something they need to do to make sure their physician orders what they need to have?
Generally, when someone comes to us with it, we usually have to call the doctor's office and get more information. So I think the biggest thing is, either call us ahead of time and say, I want this, what do I need to get? And we can give you a list of items and the appropriate fax number to have it sent to.
Okay.
Or if you're just going into your doctor and you want it, you might need to talk to them about where it's being sent. I had an instance recently where a resident's son got us a referral, but it was just one piece of paper. It didn't have the background info.
Right.
When I called to get more, they wouldn't give it to me.
Ooh.
So I had to send the son back to the office to
sure.
get it. And we don't want, everyone to have to run back and forth.
Right.
So I would always give us a pre-call and find out what you need to get.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Krista, with you now being the manager, you're going to have a lot of personnel working under you, or that you'll be directing. Do you know how many personnel you will have?
I think it's 8.
8 personnel. Are all of those registered nurses, or are they LPNs, or?
They're a combination. We have registered nurses, PT, OT, and speech.
Okay.
Okay. And then we also have home health aides.
Oh, okay.
But we cross-train them, so they're already home support aides, so we cross-train them to do home health.
Oh, wonderful.
Right.
So they know the system.
Yes. Yes.
Very, very good. With the aides that we have, they're all vetted, right? They all have been checked out. We know who they are.
Yep.
We know their backgrounds.
Yep.
Right.
A little bit safer than just getting somebody off the street, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very much so.
Very much so.
But the cost factor, I mean, aren't people getting outside aides, using them because they're saying they're less expensive?
They are.
Not 100%.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It depends
Right.
on who you're talking to, but a lot of times they're less expensive because you didn't get their background check. You don't know their driving record necessarily if you're having them take you somewhere.
Right.
You just don't have the information or the backup. I mean, if you hire an independent person and they get sick, who's going to jump in for them? If you hire us and your aide is sick, we can send someone else. I mean, I've even had, Krista and Sana, our previous clinical manager, would go out and take care of something if it needed to be done. So you really get that backup of you're going to get care.
Good. And so if we want care, use our personnel.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank both of you for being with us this morning and sharing this information.
Thank you.
And I hope people that need you contact you.
Yes.
Thanks
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks.
Take care.